Practice listening every day. You can practice with videos like this. This story comes from Indonesian folklore. The legend of Lake Tondano, North Sulawesi, Indonesia. Once upon a time, thousands of years ago, there was a high mountain. There are two areas around it, south and north. Each is led by a Tonaz who ruled over. The northern region had only one child. Their child was a girl. Her name is Marimbo. She was known to be very beautiful. In addition, she was very obedient to her parents. In fact, she vowed never to marry as long as his parents were alive. Tonaz, who ruled in the south, had a son. His name was Maharimbo. He was handsome, hardworking, and obedient to his parents. Maharimbo also vowed not to marry while his parents were still alive. The two Tonaz are thinking about the future of their region. Northern Tunas pondered over who would replace him. He was worried because his child was a girl. Meanwhile, Tonaz, the southern region, was thinking about who will accompany his child in the future. One time, Marimbo conferring with her father, both agreed that from then on, Marimbo would behave like a man. One day, Marimbo saw a young man sleeping under a tree in her area. Marimbo also wanted to expel him. The young man who was expelled turned out to be Maharimbo. He doubted whether the person was really a man. Maharimbo also wanted to prove it. At the next meeting, the two young men clashed with each other. With one battle, Marimbo's secret was revealed. Maharimbo found out that Marimbo was actually a girl. The two people eventually fall in love with each other. Both of them declared their vows to become husband and wife. Finally, there was a catastrophe. As a result of their broken oaths, a terrible earthquake hit the area. Furthermore, the volcano in the region erupted. Everything's gone. As a result of the eruption, a lake was formed which is now called Lake Tondano. Second story. The legend of the origin of Batu Raden, Central Java, Indonesia. Once upon a time, Batu Raden was a folklore from Central Java which was quite popular. One of the riches of Indonesian art is Indonesian folklore, which varies from region to region. The following is the story of Batu Raden, one of the folktales from Central Java. In the era before the kingdom of Majapahit was established, there lived a young man named Suta. He was a kind-hearted duchy servant. His job as a servant was doing manual labor in the duchy. Besides that, Suta was also in charge of maintaining the security of the duchy from bad people. One day, Suta was walking around, checking the corners of the duchy. Then he heard a woman's voice screaming in fear. Suta immediately rushed running towards the source of the sound. After looking for the source of the sound, Suta stopped at a large tree. On one of the branches of the tree there was a large snake, and near it was the duke's daughter, who was scared to see the snake. Actually, Suta was also afraid to see such a big snake, but because of his loyalty devoted himself to the duke. Suta trying to get rid of his fear. Suta tries to help the duke's daughter. Then Suta took a large stick of wood and hit it towards the big caterpillar. After being hit several times, the snake finally collapsed to the ground and didn't move anymore. The snake died at the hands of Suta. Seeing the incident, the duke's daughter was happy and thanked Suta for helping her. Suta's courage made the duke's daughter amazed and liked him. After that incident, they became close friends and met often. From the frequent meetings they have grown the seeds of love between the two. They love each other even though the difference in degrees at that time does not allow a servant to love a princess. Kanjeng Adipati, who heard the news that his daughter liked Suta, became angry. The duke felt embarrassed if the daughter he loved married a poor duchy servant. The duke then ordered his daughter to stay away from Suta and there should be no relationship between the two. The duke's daughter became sad because she was forbidden to meet Suta. After that, the news spread that was even more alarming. From a trusted servant, the princess heard that Suta was put in the dungeon by Kanjeng Duke. Not only that, while in prison, Suta was not given food and drink. The prison itself was filled with water, causing Suta to have a high fever from the cold water. Hearing the news, the duke's daughter couldn't stand it anymore. She tried to help Suta because not only because the daughter loved him, but in the past the daughter had owed her life to Suta when she was saved by Suta from a big snake. The duke's daughter then met a trusted servant and forced him to get Suta out of the dungeon. The trusted servant then infiltrated the prison and met Suta, who was suffering from a high fever. Then the trusted servant took Suta out of the prison secretly. He said that it was the duke's daughter who had helped him, and currently the princess was waiting in the duchy's courtyard. After getting out of prison, the princess and Suta fled outside the duchy. They then married and lived in a small village. Now, the village is called the village of Bacharadan. The origin of the word is from Bator, which means servant and descendant of Radan, which indicates the descendant of the duke. Third story. The story of the eagle conqueror, from South Sulawesi, Indonesia. In the past, there was a king in South Sulawesi who had 7 daughters. That said, if you have 7 children, one of them must be dedicated to a giant eagle so that the royal family was protected from disaster. This made the king sad and decided to open a competition. Anyone who succeeds in conquering Rayawali, if he is a man, will be married to one of his daughters. If she is a woman, she will be appointed as a member of the family. Therefore, many citizens flocked to save the princess. However, none of them were able to defeat Rayawali. When the giant eagle approached and was about to eat the princess, a young man came to save her with a rope and a batik. He also succeeded in stabbing and killing Rayawali. The princess finally survived and was able to return to the kingdom with a feeling of relief and calm. Fortunately, the young man then left and did not come to ask for his wages. Therefore, the king reopened the contest to find the eagle conqueror. Therefore, many people who claimed to have saved the princess. Luckily, the princess still recognized the face of the man who had saved her. "Father, that was the youth who had defeated the giant eagle," cried the princess while pointing at the young man who was in the middle of the race arena. The king gasped in surprise, as if he couldn't believe what he was witnessing. In fact, apart from being magical, the young man was also very good at playing soccer. The king was very impressed with the young man. After the young man left the race arena, the king called the young man. The king also asked, "Why don't you come to the kingdom to claim promises for your success in saving my daughter?" The boy replied, "I saved the princess not because of the gift, but a sincere servant. Even if the king wants to marry us, I want it all based on the princess's request." The princess also said that she had liked the man since the first meeting. In the end, they lived together and happily ever after.